I'm Karthik Ramasamy, consulting hematologist and myeloma specialist based at Oxford. I'm here at the EBMT Congress and we are today discussing developments of anti-myeloma therapy, and I'm going to focus primarily on quality of life decisions and incorporating that in myeloma care. So in myeloma, I think we've been very fortunate in the last 5 years to see a significant number of new therapeutics made available to patients. We've now combined them and shown in many clinical trials over the last 5 years that these improve responses and give patients sustained responses and improve survival. Data presented even here today shows that up to 60% of patients are alive and well, particularly who are transplant eligible. But unfortunately, 2/3 of myeloma patients are not transplant eligible, and they're transplant ineligible by nature of their age and comorbidities. And close to 45% of patients diagnosed with myeloma in the UK are over the age of 75. So the challenge that we have now in myeloma is, now that we have a number of new treatments, a number of new combinations, the issue really is how do we incorporate these tools for patients in the real world who often tend not to get into clinical trials, and these are the elderly patients and patients with comorbidities, and that is really the challenge. So in my talk, I'm addressing, yes, we recognize that there is an improvement in response rates, survival rates in myeloma, but what are we doing to address what the real needs of our patients are? And quality of life is almost becoming a banded word in clinical practice, but how are we really incorporating quality of life is a way I'm approaching my talk. So in my talk, I'm introducing the fact that there are quality of life tools in myeloma. There have been a number of them, they've been refined, they do give us some data, they're very good in clinical trials, but how do we actually implement them in real life practice is an area I touch upon. I go over some very practical examples of how to incorporate data from quality of life in day-to-day practice to try and improve the prescribing and management of these patients. I also go over the quality of life of patients during transplantation as well as during maintenance therapy. So in myeloma, we now give continuous therapy for our patients. So therefore, it's important that we even more ensure that these patients' quality of life are being taken into account when these treatments are given for a much longer period of time. The newer agents that have come through are also given intravenously, so that would mean patients coming in and out of hospital fairly frequently as well. So I'm touching upon what measures we're taking within clinical trials to try and see how we ease the burden of visits to hospital and also make some of the therapeutics that we currently have a bit more safer for our patients. So the important thing that has to be borne in mind in myeloma is we've now got a number of therapeutic agents, but how do we actually match them to our patients, and how do we incorporate our patient concerns, which is quality of life, in our therapeutic decision making? And hopefully I'll share some of this today.